Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson, that's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Anonymous.
It says, hello, Demon Team. I graduated in 2020 with a 3.22 GPA. Due to COVID, I waited and took the LSAT in 2022 and got a 148. Me being tired of the LSAT, I just applied with that score. I got into a school, not a good school, and not the school of my dreams. And unfortunately, I was academically dismissed at the end of the spring 2023 semesters. There were factors not within my control that were a contributing factor to this outcome, but I take responsibility for my academic dismissal as well. I have overcome so many obstacles and faced my fears and decided that I want to retake the LSAT by October or November and aim for a high 160 or 170 so that I can get into a better school with my lower GPA. Here are my dilemmas. I decided not to apply for the 2024 test for the June 2024 test because I didn't want to rush it, but I struggle with LR and reading comprehension. I'm willing to invest in myself, but funds are a little tight. I want to try a different study approach than my inconsistent self-study method. My other dilemma is that I will most likely have to write an addendum. How do I do that while showing the school that they should take this chance on me and I'm not a failure? Any advice, tips, or suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Anonymous.
There's a lot there. Yeah. Well, okay. So Anonymous tried law school and didn't do well. So the idea that this is going to be a good path for you is narrowing, right? The chances that this is going to be the right path for you are going way down. And so before you worry about an addendum, before you worry about whether you take this test in October/November, I would just see if you can start bringing your score up. You got a 148. Can you get into the mid 150s?
Right.
You have to make progress on this test. That's going to be the best way for you to decide whether, one, you should even go to law school. And if you do go to law school, that's going to be your best antidote to a shitty past. It's going to be like, hey, look, I got a 170 or I got a 174. So you're really going to have to nail it. But before you can do that, you're going to have to get into the 150s.
Yeah, addendum, you're just going to be answering whatever question they're going to ask you. I mean, I think pretty much every law school asks you whether you had previously dropped out of a law school program or whether you had previously been enrolled in a law school program. I remember answering those questions when I applied, and I only applied to like 3 schools. So I think it's a pretty common question that they're going to ask. You're going to have to explain what happened. But the thing that can, ultimately I think what you're going to tell them is I didn't give it my all, and now I'm ready to give it my all. And if you're going to make it's just don't worry about that. It's not that hard of an addendum to write. You should not be worrying. You shouldn't be drafting that addendum. Cross that bridge when you come to it. You should not come to that bridge if you cannot get yourself at least a 160 LSAT, I would say, and probably more like a 165 or higher to make me believe that this is any kind of a credible case for law school. Law school is for hard-working, good students, worker bees. You have not yet demonstrated your ability to work the way that it's going to take to get you the score you want. So, like Ben said, break it down into smaller goals. Let's get you into the 150s. Let's get you into the mid 150s. Then let's get you to the 160. Then let's get you to the mid 160s. And at 148, it's doable. We see people make that improvement all the time. But it's going to require some months of serious effort. You're going to have to basically work at least 1 hour a day to improve your LR and your reading comprehension. The test is going to be 100% LR and reading comprehension by the time you take it this fall. June was your last chance to take the test with games. That ship has sailed, so you're now going to be taking the test starting in August or beyond. That's just LR and RC, and you got to get good at that stuff. You're not going to get a 165 or higher if you're bad at LR and RC. It's just not going to happen. So you got to get better. So I would encourage you to sign up for a Demon free account. It costs absolutely nothing. There's a couple hundred LSAT questions there that you can work on. You can do timed sections, you can do full tests, but the most important thing that you do is just drill. Just do individual questions one at a time and then review the shit out of them to make sure that you really understand why the right answer is right, why the wrong answer is wrong. Why are you making these mistakes? Because these questions are solvable. And at 148, you're not solving very many of the questions. You're half-assing it. You're guessing. You're just not solving. The second you start solving, your score will shoot up immediately. You just got to take more time and more care with these questions to make sure that you're answering them correctly instead of just like rushing through the section and guessing and getting some right, some wrong. You got to get long strings of correct answers at the beginning of the section. And if you can't start doing that, if you can't start, like I would set a goal, set the 120 to 180 LSAT score aside for a while. You got to start getting the first 5 in a row right every single time. And once you can do that, you got to start getting the first 10 in a row right every single time. I think once you're doing that, you're already going to be in the 150s. Then you got to start getting the first 15 right every single time. If you can do that, you're probably going to be in mid 150s, maybe knocking on the door of 160. And if you can get the first 20 in a row right, then that's what's going to get you to 165, 170. But you're not getting to 20 in a row until you can get to 5 in a row.
Yeah. So
and 10 in a row.
Forget everything, get a Demon free account and just start with one question and trying to get those right. Yeah, I agree. Anonymous also says funds are a little tight. So one option is to apply to LSAC for a fee waiver. That will get you a discount on the Demon. It's 60% off the basic plan and 20% off the premium or live plan. Indefinitely, well, as long as you have that fee waiver. So, that will save you some money with us, but it'll also save you some money on the test because you get 2 free LSATs depending on which tier you qualify for. Part of the solution might be figuring out ways, if money's super tight, then maybe what you have to do is figure out how to make more money so you can then invest that in yourself, either in applying or whatever. Unfortunately, applying to law school is not a cheap endeavor.
You've got to start controlling some of these factors beyond your control as well, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to get yourself in a place where, like, why do we think you're going to be successful in law school next time when you weren't successful in law school this time? You say you're taking responsibility, but you also say there were factors not within your control. One of the things that you can control is when do you go to law school?
Yep.
Right. And so, and I get it. People get sick, things happen, but you should structure your life in advance before you start this process again. You should structure things so that you're not going to have whatever these worries are. Because if you've got external worries, law school is not going to solve your problems. It's not going to this is not a good path for you if you're like having problems within your family, medical emergencies, money's tight. This is not a solution to any of that. You got to like figure out how to sort that stuff out totally separately and before going back to law school. I mean, I cringe at thinking how much money Anonymous wasted
going
probably
to
a full year of law school already, probably paying a lot to go to that school, and then also fail out. So get no credit for that full year academic dismissal from the school. Like you did very, very poorly in law school to get dismissed. It's like real hard to get dismissed from law school. I guess it could be different at different schools. And I understand you had factors not within your control, so you just didn't do it. You just didn't do the things that needed to be done. But you got to make it happen on the LSAT this time. I would start with that. And once you make it happen on the LSAT, then you can think about whether it's worth applying again and going through the full 3 years of legal education.
Yeah.
Good luck. Thanks for writing in. Write us back. Let us know how you do with that LSAT Demon free account. If you get the fee waiver and you could subscribe to Basic for 60% off.
Yep.
That's crazy. You could do so much work with a Demon Basic account at 60% off. I mean, that's going to be one of the cheapest and for sure best for the money options that's out there for you. And if you can't get to 165 using Demon Basic, then you can't get to 165. Right? There's enough there in the basic account that you can get whatever your goals are, you can do it with a basic account.
Months and months of work.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for writing in, Anonymous. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you would like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.